Cheers! I do, Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? You know who I am. I've got the great Kristy Merideth, who's kind of a legend in these parts. I've got some music playing in the background if you can hear it. She's got that great kind of, I don't know, old school kind of smoky lounge voice, but I'm going to pause that so we can have a conversation. Kristy, I'm drinking a beer called Geckenhaus from Chaos Brewing that I picked up last weekend in Joplin. If you've
Nice.
never been there, they're an outstanding little craft brewery. This is basically their farmhouse ale at 8.9%.
Ooh.
And I had a little bit of it earlier to do a video for the beer, but I'm going to pour that. So, what are you drinking at the pub this evening?
I currently have Prosecco with frozen raspberries. It is the Mionetto from Costco.
Oh, very nice.
But I do have some Schlafly Kolsch that I might dive into in a
Oh,
moment.
very good. I like the Schlafly Kolsch.
Yeah,
My,
thank you.
my wife and I actually went to Costco for the first time today. We just got a membership and we checked that out today for the first time. I picked up some
Love it.
liquor because it was really cheap.
It's so cheap. You can get really good wine and Prosecco for super cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We actually bought a bottle of prosecco, and my wife has started to learn about wine, so she picked up a bottle of prosecco and a bottle of the Kirkland sangria as well.
I've never had that. We
But
like
I
the
found a great price on there. They had a great price on the Whistle Pig Piggyback Rye, the 6-year-old rye,
oh
and
wow.
also this one here that I might have a little bit here with you later is the Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond whiskey. They're out of Weston, Missouri.
I don't know what
So,
that is.
so I might have some of that later, but I'm going to start with this beer. So how are you doing this evening? And did you survive St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, we typically stay in on St. Patrick's.
Did you? So my wife and I did something different. We don't typically go out on that evening, but we actually took off for the weekend and went to Joplin last weekend. And
I saw
last
some of your
May, we
posts.
found a winery out there just a little north of Joplin called Keltoy. Have you ever been out there?
Mm-mm.
They're only about an hour and 20-minute drive from here, and it's the friendliest little winery you've ever been to. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that seems pretty cool. Maybe we'll try that this weekend.
So I've been listening to some of your music here. Have you done any? Do you have any new music coming out anytime soon?
Um,
I know you got several music projects out there.
yeah, actually, funny you would ask. I actually did some backing vocals for Barrett Hill's upcoming record today
Oh,
at his
nice.
studio. I did on his last record as well. And then we play together sometimes. I think we're playing next weekend at Southern Plate. But yeah, actually, Randy Buckner and I are working up several of my originals that I
Are
wrote.
you really? Awesome.
Yeah, and we're actually collaborating to write things that we're writing together. So we're probably going to record in Barrett's studio probably within the next couple months sometime. So
Oh, very good. So
should be
when
a
do you
whole
anticipate that coming
record.
out? Maybe towards the end of the year or next
Probably,
year?
yeah, yeah, somewhere around there.
I actually had Barrick was on the show. I don't know, a few weeks back. That was a very interesting conversation. He's an incredible musician.
He's a wonderful person. I like
I
him a
love
lot.
his song "The Lost Year," man. There's something about those lyrics just speak to me.
I just did harmonies on that one today.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's awesome.
it's really beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a guy that wanted to be a lyricist way back when, and I listened to those lyrics and I said, man, this guy is an absolute genius.
He's very good. He's very good at what he does. I used to go out and listen to him play at Bruco, and then I got to where I
Yeah,
knew his songs just sitting in the audience, and then we became friends. And I was like, I should probably sing with you sometimes. So
very nice.
now he lets me sing with him sometimes, which is nice.
So, are you playing anywhere this weekend in town?
Tomorrow I am at Hotel V with Randy Buckner from 11 to 1 for
Oh,
brunch.
11 to 1. Okay.
Mhm.
No,
So
I've
that's
never been
fun.
out there for the music. So, how does it work out there?
It's a little, it's good. It's a good. We're next to the fireplace, so you walk in the hotel,
Mhm.
and then the fireplace is here, the stairway's there, and the restaurant is here. So we are just to the right of the entrance, kind of next to the fireplace. And there's a little nook that we kind of fit
Okay.
into. So we're separate from, like, the lobby separates us from the people, but whatever. It's brunch.
So,
It's
so, so
mellow.
will they let us riff raff in there?
They let me in somehow for some reason. So yeah, yeah. Riff raff, welcome, especially to mine and Randy's gigs.
Very nice. But I know I've seen you in a few different projects here in town. So, what all you got working these days?
So Randy and I do duo quite a bit, and we do a lot of old school country, like Buck Owens, Patsy Cline,
Oh, really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we'll be doing some that tomorrow, and we throw some weird stuff in, like we do some Nirvana, we do some Soundgarden, we'll do some originals. Um, what else? Amy Winehouse. We kind of do everything. We have a huge songbook already.
Uh-huh.
And then also with Randy and Donnie Kraft, I'm in 83 Skidoo, and we take 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and we've expanded into the aughts now, pop songs, and we rework them into a different genre, like jazz or Latin, or we've done some oompa, turn songs
Very
into
nice.
German oompa music. Yeah, we just rework them so they don't sound like they did originally, but they're
Yeah,
still,
I've seen you in that incarnation several times. I
yeah,
love that band because
yeah,
I don't know. You described it better than I would. I feel this kind of like an old school kind of swing sound, or even old school kind of lounge. That lounge
yeah.
kind of music.
We turn like Cheap Tricks. I Want You to Want Me is a picker, is a Merle Travis style picker, because Randy,
Oh wow,
that's his
that
wheelhouse,
sounds
right?
awesome.
So that's really cool. And then we do a lot of, like, straight up is like a very jazzy, turn on that one. So yeah, we just make them different and fun.
Very nice. So, but you have some original music coming out as well, right?
Yeah, I wrote a few songs when I lived in Chicago. I recorded those with some really great musicians in Chicago, and then I kind of have played them, a couple of them, through the years with different bands I've been in. And Randy and I decided to kind of, I think it was kind of Randy's idea to actually kind of rearrange them a little bit and start getting them out there. And then uh, we decided we'd maybe just go ahead and record them with Eric. So yeah,
Very nice.
and
Oh,
we're writing some more new stuff too.
I remember talking to you a while back at Springfield Brewing Company, and I told you the
Yep.
first time I saw you was at Nathan P. Murphy's, and you mentioned, well, you only played there once, so.
Yeah, and I don't remember it, so I
Yeah,
don't know what that says about me.
that's funny because that's the first, because I remember telling friends, man, you got to see this. She's just amazing. Got that great kind of old school kind of sound.
Oh,
It was amazing.
well, thanks. I very much love singing.
So I'm just curious though, what do you think? What is your opinion on the music scene here in Springfield? I know over the last few months there's been a few showcase clubs that have kind of shut down. Uh, as an artist, how does that work for you? I mean, are there enough places? Are they treating their artists well?
Yeah, I think most places generally do. I mean, we would always love to make more money, but I know,
Yeah,
I mean, not everybody has the budget to pay us what we want to be paid. That goes for everybody's job, I would assume. But yeah, it was sad to see the Cellar go. Um, it really broke my heart mid-pandemic when the Headburn, not the Headburn, Epcat, sorry, when the Epcat closed down. That was really, I think that could have been such a wonderful place, great owners and
yeah,
great staff, and it was just super fun. We started playing there quite a bit, and then COVID hit, and that went away,
yeah.
unfortunately. So I think there's plenty of opportunity around here to play. Oh my God, the amount of talent in this town is mind-boggling.
It is,
So,
really is. Yeah.
yeah, for a town this size, we shouldn't be this lucky to have this much stuff to go listen to, but I'm glad that we are. But yeah, no, for the most part, everybody's great and everybody gets along, and I mean, all the musicians pretty much like each other, and I mean, all the ones I know anyway. We all kind of look out for each other, and yeah, there's a couple, exceptions to that, but typically not. Typically not. Typically everybody's really cool. So yeah.
I think that was interesting when I first came to this town about 1990, coming from Southern California, being a long-haired rocker at the time. So I grew up in Southern California during that whole, kind of hair band thing. So I mean, I saw a lot of these guys when they were just in showcase clubs before they had record deals.
Mhm.
And I moved out here and I started looking at some of the local bands. I was amazed even at that time the talent they had. I said, man, started looking through the paper and going to see some of these bands, going, man, this is amazing.
Yeah.
There seemed to be more showcase clubs at that time than there is now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the Cellar was trying to do a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
for
I
some
really
reason,
miss them.
what's that?
I miss them. Yeah.
I do too, and such great people. I think they were trying to do it. I think Mothers is doing a little bit of that, like their barrel room
Yeah.
stuff. They're doing a little bit of that, so it's good. that's happening. But yeah, there's not a lot of outside of like festivals and stuff, which we do have a lot of, which are great. But yeah, there's not a lot of that. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why. It seems like the times, maybe. I don't know. Maybe people our age, like I'm not going out at 10. That's just somebody's got to pay me to go out at 10. So if there's a thing starting at 10 with 4 bands, I'm probably not going to be there. So I don't know.
Well, that's my problem as I get older. I want more shows to start at 6, right?
Yeah.
I want to be home I want to be home by 8:30 at the very latest. Yeah. Your Springfield Brewing Company, they got Dallas and Molly there from 5 to 8 on most Sundays. But I would wish they'd play from 2 to 5 because I can't go out from 5 to 8. Yeah. I got to work Monday.
Exactly. He's in there drinking beer for 3 hours. Yeah.
That's what there's been a few shows my wife and I wanted to go to, but they don't start till 10. It's, I'm not getting out at 10.
Yeah. Sometimes I just put my face in. If it's a friend's band, I'll be like, hi, and I can't stay. They're just like, if I have a gig that's till 8:30 or 9, and then someone else has a gig at 9:30 or 10, there's a likelihood that I will make it for an hour or so, but it's not a huge chance. Yeah. It's just, I used to start playing at 10 o'clock, so I don't know. That's just getting old, I guess. So, but here we are,
So do you think there's room for more showcase clubs in town? I mean, it seems like we have a lot of, there's a lot of places to play, but they don't necessarily encourage the showcase talent.
Oh, who else is doing it? And yes, I do think there is room for sure. I think Cunateca is doing some showcases now too.
Are they really? Okay, I haven't been out there in a while. Okay.
Yeah, and I think they're doing some showcases for artists of color, which is really cool because we don't get a lot of that in Springfield. We don't get a lot of showcases.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was seeing some stuff online a couple weeks ago about that. So yeah, that's something to maybe look into. But yeah, for sure, I think any place could do it. Pine Timber would be a great place to do it in the summer. Spring and summer.
Yeah, Pine Timber is a great place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super great. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's plenty of room and plenty of. Yeah, there's always new music coming up. Like the younger, I want to say kids, but that makes me sound old, but I am old, so it's fine. But man, there's so many cool things they're doing. It's like, it'd be great to have more places to showcase people where people could play like their hour-long set or their 45-minute set and really hit it and quit it. That's what I love, and it's fun to do too because you get your best of, you get your best stuff out there. So yeah, I think there's room for that. For sure.
But yeah, I'm almost 58, so anybody under 40, I always refer to as a kid, right?
Yeah, I'm almost 50, and I can't even tell what age anyone below 40 is anymore. I'm like, I don't know.
Everybody looks 20, right? I mean, I see these kids in their mid 20s. They look 16 to me.
Yeah, I can't tell anymore, so that's fine.
In fact, where I work, the office, almost everybody in the office is 30 years younger than I am, so I'm the old guy.
Yeah. How's that work out?
Well, the worst part is that they don't understand any of my movie references, right?
Oh, God.
When I say I'm too old for this shit, nobody understands. Nobody's seen Lethal Weapon. And how do you not know that line? I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
How do you not know that Danny Glover, Sergeant Murtaugh line? I'm getting too old. And I'll throw some, Die Hard references out and nothing. Never.
I have to explain a lot of references that I make to my child, so I get it. He's 17, so yeah. Yep.
I do find it. So I'm a craft beer guy. I know you know that. So, but I do find it interesting that a lot of the craft beer bars are having music out there and encouraging showcase talent. I know you mentioned Mother's Springfield Brewing Company. I guess they're going to start adding more music out there. There's a new young brewery out on Plainview called Banter. I don't know if you've been out there, but
I've not been out yet.
But they're doing
to the south side very often.
They do music most Saturdays from 6 to 8, so that's an ideal time for an old guy like me, right? 6 to 8, listen 2 hours. I'm home by 8:30.
Yeah. Oh, Warehouse. Have you been to Warehouse Bar? I haven't been there yet.
I have not. Where's that at? Oh, is that
West Sunshine?
Yes. So that's like the food court or the food truck court, right?
Yeah. It's and JT. You remember JT? You remember? Were you here for the Abyss when the Abyss was downtown?
I was. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that place. It's JT that used to own the Abyss.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Warehouse. He's so great. Yeah, and he's booking a lot of great bands out there.
All right.
Yeah. And I think they have fairly early show times.
Oh, nice. That's very nice.
Yeah. I need to get out there this weekend. I need to get booked there.
So When I first came to town, the hot clubs were for middle of the road. You had the Townhouse way out there with the Lefty Brothers, and then for country you had the Top Rail Lounge, and then for heavy rock or hard rock you had Ramones, and then of course there was a Key Largo, and then you had the Shady that had the piano bar, which was kind of awesome.
So I can only, all of those are before my time, except before I lived here. Not before my, I don't mean that. I'm not that much younger than you, but before I lived here. I didn't move here till the 90s sometime. I don't remember. I played at Key Largo once. That was the only time I've ever been heckled.
Really? Who heckled you?
Well, I don't know. Some asshole.
Well, I mean, why were they heckling you, I guess was the question. Yeah.
I don't think they liked jazz. And I was straight up doing standards at the time. That's all I did was jazz standards at the time. And I just handed the mic to them. I said, "You want to sing?" They did not. They were very mean and very loud. And so I just walked over. There were like 4 people there. And I walked over and I handed him the mic. And I said, "Well, go right ahead. You can do better." So he didn't really say anything after that. And then the Shady, I had a shady, like, secret boyfriend that we went there. So, because why wouldn't you go there? I mean, and I went there a couple times with him. It was great. That was such a cool place.
Yeah, I love going to that old piano bar out there. I wish there was a place like that now.
Yeah, the tufted piano. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Blues. I mean, it was perfect.
It was so dark you could barely see the person next to you. It's like, that's my favorite kind of place.
And it was best that way. It was best that you couldn't see everything.
Absolutely. Oh God, yes, absolutely. And then nobody could see you, which was good too.
Oh, that was funny.
Okay, I'm topping off my Prosecco here.
So jazz standards. In fact, that when I first saw you, you were doing a lot of jazz standards. So what are your main influences?
Or
let me rephrase the question. What are your early influences?
Early influences would be, I didn't even know I could sing. I thought everybody could sing, so I always say that. I thought everybody could sing because my whole family can kind of sing, carry tune anyway. Early influence would be Cyndi Lauper.
Oh yeah, really? Okay.
Oh, for sure. But I also listened to all kinds of stuff with my parents, like pop music of the 80s. I was not steeped in any sort of, there was no like anybody in my family that listened to jazz or anything. And that's not a fault, by the way, but we were very pop music oriented when I was a child. And I very much loved it. And I would always try to like pick out harmonies and stuff, listening to the records or listening to the radio, or imitate the singer I was listening to. And then I found jazz vocalists when I was, and instrumentalists, to be honest. I learned a lot from listening to Miles Davis records like Workin' and Relaxin' and Cookin'. Those are my favorites that I learned a bunch of songs off of. But Sarah Vaughan is my favorite.
Oh, really? Okay, great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite, well, probably just my favorite vocalist of all time. She's my favorite. Etta James.
Oh,
yeah. Billie Holiday I love very much. Yeah, for jazz people, Etta, Sarah, Billie. Blossom Dearie. Do you know who Blossom Dearie is?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people don't know who Blossom Dearie is, but she's
well, I'm old. I know a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, so for me, like I said, I was a long-haired rock and roller way back when. My first experience with any kind of jazz was before cable. I don't know if you remember this, but in fact, this might just have been a California thing because I haven't talked to anybody out here that knows it. Was you had this thing called On TV? It was just basically this box, and you had a scrambled signal. So you turn the box on, it would descramble the signal. Anyways, it was like a precursor to cable. It would give you movies and stuff. But anyway, late in the evenings, they would give you these very obscure concerts from colleges. So one night they had AC/DC on.
Oh.
I said, oh my God, this is amazing. But one night they had Spyro Gyra on. And the week before I watched AC/DC, and I turned it on for Spyro Gyra. Oh my God, I don't know what that is, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't think they know what it is either.
I don't know what this is. Boy, it's good. And then I saw Return to Forever on there. An old jazz supergroup. It wasn't really vocal jazz, but I mean, it just kind of spoke to me. And then I was 14 years old. And I was at Disneyland with a friend, and Maynard Ferguson happened to be playing out there, and we had no
Oh,
interest
wow.
at all in watching him. And
Sure.
we walked by and they were playing, and I started walking slower and slower and slower until I stopped. I mean, I was just glued to that stage because the band was so amazing, and he was just this incredible performer. Even when he
Yeah.
wasn't playing, he was just, I mean, he was just doing all this other stuff. I mean, he was very animated.
Sure.
And so, oh my gosh. And I kind of became a believer. All my friends thought I just lost my mind.
You just felt it. You're in the moment. It's
Oh
good.
man. The first time I heard him do his version of Birdland, I went, oh my gosh, that is genius.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And then it was
people,
maybe not long after that, I heard Manhattan Transfer do a vocal version on, believe it was Saturday Night Live. So, oh my God, that's just
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. 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 I think people don't want to like jazz because it's so huge. Like the jazz isn't one thing, right? Like it's
Yeah.
and neither is rock and roll. And like there's not a monolith for really any one genre of music, but especially jazz. Like there's some weird ass jazz that people really can't get their minds around. And that's okay. There's like 4 people that like it, but it's okay because somebody likes it.
That's
But
right.
I think that jazz gets a bad rap because of that stuff. But like that's not what jazz has to be. Like there's so much jazz out there that people would love. Like standards. I mean, standards were considered jazz, and everybody loves the standards. So,
There's not usually a middle ground, right? People you either feel it or you don't, right?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
And I've heard the same thing with blues. I mean, I've heard a lot of people tell me they don't like blues until I play them something. So, oh, I like that. Well, that's blues.
right.
It isn't always what you think it is.
Yeah, and I think to say that about any genre of music is kind of short sighted. Well, like you're closing yourself off to wonderful things, like because
Yeah.
I probably would say 20 years ago, probably was that I don't really like country music, but I absolutely love country music, and I always have. There's just certain types of country music I don't like, or
Yeah.
certain artists I don't like, or whatever. But yeah, I absolutely love country music. So yeah, I like all music. Um,
Yeah, it always makes me wonder when people say, well, I don't like this or I don't like that. Well, have you listened to it?
right, and
And they'll mention one artist and say, no, but you got to listen to this.
yeah, I guarantee there's one thing in everything you could find one thing that you
Yeah.
like. You
Yeah,
could
that's
find
true.
one
Yeah.
thing that you like. You probably find
And
spell.
sometimes I kind of make it a mission, right? When I hear a genre that I don't like or it's not really my style, I make it a mission to find something about that genre that's redeeming for me. I find one artist. Like for me, being an old rock and roll guy, I'm not a real fan of rap music as a whole, but
Sure.
I will make it my mission to find one artist, at least one artist that's okay. Usually once I find that one artist that I like, I say, okay, then I start finding more. So, oh, now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. See.
There's certain aspects about that genre I don't like.
Yeah. But that's great. That's like being open to. I mean, again, rap music is not a monolith, right? People who listen to it are not a monolith. So it's good to be
Yeah.
open to that. Knowing that there's something in there for everyone. You don't have to like whatever. Yeah. There's always something different.
So when you're writing new material, do you think in terms of a particular genre as you're writing the song, or does it just end up a certain way? Once you get to that moment.
Gosh, I'm not. I feel like I'm not much of enough of a writer to answer that. I've written like 8 songs, but the songs I wrote before all came to me in a really big burst. Like, and they're kind of country swing, country jazz swing feel, and yeah. So I was kind of listening to a lot of I was listening to a lot of Loretta Lynn. I was listening to a lot of White Stripes, oddly, at the time. But yeah, so yeah, definitely influenced by things that I was influenced by things that were happening in my life. Someone from my day job is messaging me, and it's very noisy. Sorry. Yeah, so I don't know. A lot of times, like the thing with Randy that we're doing right now, he sends me the changes, and I'm going to put lyrics and melody over the changes.
Oh, nice, very nice.
A la, Bernie and Elton. Look out, guys. But it just kind of depends, like the mood of the, if it's minor or if it's sounds melancholy or whatever. Like, yeah, and so I'll kind of figure out. It'll just kind of come out. I don't really know. What's going to happen.
Very
I wrote
nice.
a song with Yankton. Do you know Yankton Southern?
So say that again.
Yankton Southern.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we wrote a song we did for the Tiny Desk NPR thing. Oh God, 700 years ago. but that's what we did. He sent me changes, and I just wrote lyrics over it, and it was over a thing that, you know, I was going through at the time, and it's a really pretty song. Like, I don't know. But sometimes they're really stupid. Like I've written one like just riding my bicycle. I wrote a song about a trophy wife, and it's really dumb. And it's like, why? It was just there. So
Well, Newton Wainwright wrote "Dead Skunk," and that
Dead
song is
Skunk.
brilliant.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Newton Wainwright wrote "Dead Skunk."
Oh,
So
I've
I mean,
not
if you
heard
can
that.
sing a song about a dead skunk, you can sing a song about anything.
And you can make a song about anything. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I ask every musician I get on here: is that what are your thoughts on streaming services? The good, bad, and the ugly.
Okay. I just started thinking about Spotify when I was in the car coming back from barracks today, actually. Because, they suck. And they don't pay artists enough for sure. And that's absolute bullshit. So I love that it's an accessible way to get music and to find new music. But also, I'm not going to give my money to someone who pays Joe Rogan a bunch of money. And then also, they need to pay, they're not paying artists enough. So, it's not worth it. I wouldn't say it's not worth it to host your stuff there if you're an artist with originals, but it's certainly not going to make you a living, and that's not fair. That I don't know what their CEO makes. I guarantee it's a lot. So they have it. This hierarchy of not paying the people who do the work is very shitty. On all jobs, all aspects of society. But yeah, so again, I love it that it's an easy way to get music. I can go right to my phone or my computer and be like, oh shit, I just heard this thing, and then I've got it. It's in my face. But I won't pay Spotify for sure. I mean, no. I'd rather buy the artist. I'd rather buy a digital copy of something directly from the artist.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at now. If I can do that, I would love to do that. And that's if I buy music, that's how I do it. So, yeah.
So as not a musician, my take on it is that, so when that whole thing started going down with Neil Young, I thought about dropping Spotify. So I looked into Pandora, but I couldn't find a lot of artists on Pandora that I have on Spotify.
Yeah.
So I started really trying to get philosophical about it, right? I started thinking, okay, so Spotify sucks because they don't pay their artists a lot of money. However, I'm able to find a lot of artists, even regional artists on Spotify that I can't find on any other streaming service. Yeah. So if I find those artists and I buy their product and I tell others about their product, even though Spotify isn't paying them, they're kind of indirectly making money because of Spotify.
Sure. And they're not making nothing. It's really close to nothing, but it's, it's not nothing, but and I do think that's good. Word of mouth is always good, right? Like that doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, if somebody finds you through Spotify and then goes to see your show or buys your disc, whatever, or digital or actual, but so that's why I kind of go back and forth with, because I know that they don't pay their artists, but then again, I found artists that I wouldn't have found if it wasn't for Spotify.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because I don't know if I've ever really found someone through Spotify. Do they still I haven't had it in so long because they did a thing with Steve Bannon too, and we were like, nope, bye. But do they give you suggestions based off what you're listening to? I'm opening this.
Yeah, so they do. They've got this Discover Weekly, and so I'll play that to see if there's anybody new. And I found this artist, so a band called Alien Attitude. I really like. And they only did one album, and they're probably never going to do any more. But that one album is brilliant. They were basically a bunch of studio musicians that got lumped together. That ended up staying together because of COVID. They couldn't get out, so they put this album out, and it had this very 80s sound, right? For me, I can hear a lot of Cars influence, maybe some Echo and the Bunnymen in there, but the keyboard player in particular, I could hear a lot of Greg Hawkes influence in there. And the lyrics, the music, for me, it was brilliant. But then again, I'm an old guy. But I loved it. But I would have never found that band if it wasn't for Spotify.
Sure. I feel like there's probably other ways. There's other Yeah, that's hard to like. That's the thing. It's hard to replace, like, right? But I find so. Here's what I do. I find music like listening to it, watching a television show, uh,
Yep.
walking in a store. So I have the Shazam thing on my phone, that'll just tell you what it is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have more music that way than I have any other
Really?
way.
Okay. Well, I'm a bit technologically challenged, so yeah.
Oh, it's an app and you just punch the button and it listens to
Really?
it. I
Okay.
do it with a lot
I'll
where
do
I'm
that, yeah.
sitting there and I'm like, what is this? I kind of like this. Well, sometimes I do it with a song I hate too, which makes no sense, but I still do it. But
That's
usually
funny.
it's the song I like. Yeah, so it'll tell you, and I kind of go through that person's catalog if I can. So yeah,
So, do you have a preferred streaming service that you use, or
I do Apple Music now.
Apple? Okay.
Yeah, just because it's phone, watch TV, all of it. We're tethered. So
Yeah, all right, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I've still
yeah,
got my Spotify, and again, like I said, I mean, I considered getting rid of it, and I added Pandora, looking at getting rid of the Spotify, but in the end, I dropped the Pandora because I couldn't find a lot of the artists that I like. I found a lot of
yeah,
regional artists on Spotify that aren't anywhere else.
yeah, that's true. And Pandora's hard because it doesn't really when it sticks to one, and you can
Yeah,
curate your feed, which is nice, but it's not really going to give you. I mean, it'll give you some new people, some new stuff, but it's not going to be regional or local for sure. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know, and I don't know of another one. Title is Title still a thing?
I don't know.
Jay-Z started Title to help
Oh,
actually pay
no.
artists, but I've not downloaded it. I've not used it. Maybe we should look into Title.
And I've always joked that I kind of drift towards the obscure, right? I've always joked that from any album, from any given artist, my favorite song is always the third song on the B side. It's not that mainstream song that got played on the radio, right?
Sure, sure. Oh no, there's always a better one. There's always a better one on the record. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, always a better one somewhere down there.
It's that old album rock mentality, right? Because you didn't go to the concert to see the song that they played, that was played on the radio. You went to the concert to see the song that was the third song on the B side, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
real. Yep.
I hope they play this one.
Yeah, and you feel so special, like it's your song, like you're the only
Yeah,
one
they
who knows
did. Yeah, they're
it.
playing it just for me because
Yeah.
I willed them to play that.
You're like everyone in here just likes the hits except for me.
Yeah. Oh, mercy.
Yeah.
So growing up, like I said, I was a long-haired rocker, but I was a little different than my other friends. Because I mean, I love we go see Scorpions, Iron Maiden, but I was also big into Elvis Costello as well and Joe
Sure.
Jackson. So my taste kind of made no sense at all.
I think that's great though. I think that's way cooler to be that person, right? To be the person who's like just all over the place across the board with music or with anything, with art of any sort,
Well,
right? Like that's so much cooler to me. Like that's a more well-rounded person in my mind. Like not to be. I mean, I know people who are like jazz and jazz only. Everything else is beneath, and I'm like, that's bullshit. That's another reason people hate jazz because a lot of people are jazz snobs. That term exists for a reason.
yeah.
But you can't. You shouldn't be that way. There's so much great music in every freaking genre. Like, yeah, there's no reason to be that way. So, yeah. I can't remember what you said. I'm sorry.
So do you get yourself in? I know for me, sometimes I get zero focused on certain things. Right, I went through a period last year where I had about 4 months where I listened to nothing but old school jazz. I was cranking Miles Davis, Tina Brooks, Lee Morgan. I have this. I get I get that focus. Once I get, my wife says I get a little obsessed, right?
Sure,
With
sure.
certain genres, and I have to keep finding music in that genre until I branch out to something else. Do you find yourself doing that as a musician, getting zero focused on a specific artist and just
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. I think my latest phase was my husband's currently in an ELO phase.
oh yeah, okay.
Hear ELO a lot coming from upstairs. But oh God, what was my latest? Dwight Yoakam. I got really hard into Dwight Yoakam for a while.
Where you get that hip wiggle thing going like he does.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. He's got a giant hat. No, No, but I do try to sing like him. I'm like, all right, then after that thing, my voice, I'm like, don't do it. That's Dwight's. Dwight Yoakam, Buck Owens is one of my favorites to go down the Buck Owens rabbit hole because it's so
Oh, I
fucking
love
weird.
Buck Owens. Yeah.
Can I say the F word? Sorry. Um, um, I'm surprised that was the first one. Buck Owens, I love. Dolly Parton. I've been down the Dolly Parton path. God, apparently country music is where I'm going these days. Who else? Fleetwood Mac. I've been kind of doing a little Fleetwood Mac deep dive. Yeah, no, I definitely do that where and then I have, I mean, Prince is my heart, right? So I have week long stretches where all I'll listen to is Prince.
Yeah.
Because you can never
So
get
you
to the bottom
mentioned
of
a
that.
lot of classic country artists. Are there are newer artists that you find yourself going, oh, this guy's got, or this person's got some talent?
Newer people? Absolutely. Can I think of any off the top of my head? Lizzo. I absolutely love Lizzo. I love Miley Cyrus, and I'm okay with telling everyone that. Oh my gosh, her new song "Flowers" is like one of my favorites that's ever been, and it's nothing. It's a very simple song, but it's beautiful and wonderful. Yeah, I love Lizzo. I love Miley Cyrus. I love shit. Who was I just listening to? I cannot call this person. I've had 2 glasses of prosecco and half a beer. So I have eaten 1 bowl of pasta today.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So carbs and alcohol, that's what you're running on today?
That's my jam. Yeah.
Well, you're a musician. You're used to that, right?
That's exactly what we do. That's the prescribed.
Here we
go. Yeah. I want to like Taylor Swift, but I've never really listened to much Taylor Swift. I mean, that doesn't, I'm kind of right in the middle. I've liked a few songs, but I should probably like listen more to Taylor Swift. But yeah, haven't gone there yet. Shit, I'm trying to think. Somebody was on Saturday Night Live recently that I really, really liked. Oh, Megan Thee Stallion was great on Saturday Night Live. Oh God, Silk Sonic. Have you listened to Silk Sonic?
No, huh?
Oh shit, that's Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak.
Really? Okay.
Oh, it's so good. It's old school. Bootsy Collins is on the record, which is great. It's old school soul. It's really good. Anything with Silk Sonic is like one of my favorite records that has ever existed. It is so good.
Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah,
it is so good.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
And I kind of live in my own musical bubble. Do you find a lot of folks just kind of live in their own musical bubble?
Mm-hmm. I think most of us do that. I think most of us do, but I try to it's probably, it's happenstance that it falls in my lap or in front of my face. If I find a new thing, it's probably because I listen to a podcast called Wonderful, and they typically talk about just things they found that are great. It's like the most uplifting, cute podcast ever. It's a husband and wife couple. And that's where I found out about Lizzo. Oh, and Yola. Oh my God, have you listened to Yola?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, Yola is a singer-songwriter. I can't remember where she's from. But she is, oh my God. I think she played Sister Rosetta Tharpe in the new Elvis movie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she plays guitar and she sings. Her record was produced by one of the dudes from the Black Keys. That guy. She is amazing. She's amazing. Yeah. Her record came out probably 2019 or 2019. Yeah, just YOLA. But that podcast has given me a lot of great musical recommendations. So, yeah. Yeah, she's really great.
Okay.
Amazing voice.
Yeah.
Amazing voice. And kind of country, kind of whatever Americana, kind of sound. Yeah. Yeah, she's great.
So when you travel, do you try to look at what music is playing in that particular neck of the woods at that time? Because I always like to see who might be out there, what kind of music might be playing.
Oh yeah, we're actually, absolutely, we're actually going to Denver this summer, and we had to scope out Red Rocks. It was at Red Rocks, and there's nobody good. There's nobody good when we're going. But we might go back in September to see Randy Carlisle.
Okay.
Who I also love. But yeah, absolutely. So I did that. My friend and I went to Philadelphia last year, and we kind of looked at who was going to be there. So for sure, yes, we look to see who's going to be where if we're going somewhere. Yep.
So back in, I think it was about 2020, when we're all had to stay home. So I started channel surfing and finding different things. And I found a channel on YouTube that I hadn't found before called nugs.net. Have you found those guys?
What is it?
Nugs.net.
Like nuggets, but nugs?
Yeah, just nugs, yeah.
Okay.
So what's odd is that they do a lot of live shows, and not a lot of it makes sense as far as genre. They're kind of all over the place. But I first started watching them because they were playing a lot of blues artists that I like, right? They did a live show at Tipitina's with Cedric Burnside, who's a grandson of the great R.L. Burnside. And I found Eric Lindell out there. But then I started seeing other bands that I hadn't heard of before, right? They had this band out of Colorado who plays Red Rock. You mentioned Red Rock, so I thought of it, called the Motet. They're kind of a little jazz, little funk, little soul. So if you get a chance, check out that channel because they play a lot of odd music.
I'm gonna write it down. It's Nug what?
Nugs.net. Yeah, look up. In fact, if you do a search on YouTube, if you just hit Nugs, it'll pull them up.
I feel like a lot of things could come up with that.
Yeah.
But
Nugs, it'll get you in the right place.
It was the Motet or Motet? Is it the name called?
Motet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. I'm telling you that these guys are just musically incredible.
I will check
It's
that
kind
out.
of it's a little bit of jazz, but there's some funk and soul elements as well.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
I love that. Checking all the boxes right there.
There we go. Yeah. And again, it's one of those bands I didn't expect to like right away. And it's the more they play, the more I go, huh. They caught my interest. I went, huh. Oh, that was good. You see, sometimes for me, there's a specific chord change or something will go, oh, that wasn't easy to do. Even like I said, even if it's not necessarily my wheelhouse per se.
Sure.
Oh, I know that is difficult to go from here to here. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, or just to appreciate something that's like, I can't do that, something like just to appreciate something that's lovely or that's unique, that's, yeah, I think that's the beauty of art, but music for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So is there an artist that you listened to at a young age or maybe saw live early on that you went, oh man, that kind of shaped your musical views?
I liked a lot of crap, Tom, to be honest. No, I really loved, so my first two vinyl, that's because that's what we had. My first two records I asked for Christmas. I was 10 years old and I got Billy Joel's 57th Street, right? 52nd Street, 57th Street. And then Prince, Purple Rain. Those are my first two records.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so those are not crap, by the way. Those are not garbage. And I got in trouble because my cousin asked for a Bible and I asked for those. And my grandma was like, well, you're going to hell. And I was like, cool. So no, those Billy Joel and Prince I loved, very influential. I did listen to a lot of hot garbage in my mid early teens, but whatever, it was good. I loved it. So I don't know, maybe considered garbage now. A lot of hair metal that did not stand the test of time.
I grew up listening to this. In fact, a lot of these bands I saw in the showcase. I mean, I saw Rat, Great White, Motley Crue, even Metallica in Showcase Club. I'm that old.
I saw all of them too. Yes. my first big concert was Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith, which was.
Is that? Oh my gosh.
So good.
So I got to say this real quick. I don't want to cut you off, but
no.
So growing up, my favorite band was Aerosmith. I saw them in 82, 84, and 86.
That's amazing. I saw them in 86 or 87 with Guns N' Roses. I saw them again in like maybe 90, 92. Don't remember who was with them. Didn't matter. It was Aerosmith. Yeah. So love them. Yeah. And then let's see. I saw all the hair bands. Motley Crue, Faster Pussycat, Little White Lion.
Oh, I love them. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
my
Well,
son was a big fan of that band. Yeah.
Yeah. I got my dress signed by Firehouse and Striper.
Firehouse. Don't Treat Me Bad as my at that moment in time was my song. Yeah. Don't Treat Me Bad. Yeah.
And what was it? Were they finally found the love of a lifetime?
Oh yeah.
Firehouse?
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
All the girls love that one. Yeah.
My heartbreak songs were the Firehouse song I mentioned, and then Martin Briley's "Salt in My Tears."
I don't know that one.
Oh, look at him! He's a great artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin Briley, "Salt in My." It was a great, without using any cuss words, "you" song. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I liked the Grateful Dead for a long time.
Oh, I love the Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Went to a few shows. I wouldn't say they influenced me necessarily, but who knows? Maybe they did. I kind of think everything you listen to influences you to a certain degree, right?
Grateful Dead concert really isn't a concert, right? It's more like this big kind of house party.
It's a happening. Yeah. It's burritos in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So
I won tickets. I was 20 years old. I won tickets to go see him. It was an outdoor arena, and my cousin, who was a few years older than I, him and I went, and they were selling tofu salad sandwiches and liquid acid in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what to buy or what not to buy.
Right? Do you buy both? And then what order do you do them?
Because you're probably going to get the munchies at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the food inside the stadium, way too expensive.
Yeah.
Get the parking lot food. I remember burritos on grilled veggie burritos on a hibachi.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, please.
Because the Dead allowed everything, right? They allowed you to take pictures. They even allowed you to record.
Yep, they did. Yep.
I just remember being out there. We had lawn seats, and I remember stuff being passed by me. I said, okay. Pass this down, okay.
Yeah.
There were just stuff flying everywhere. I have no idea what I did that particular evening.
Yeah, it was definitely weed when I got it. But it was just being passed around. Yeah.
There were certain types of fungi, let's just say.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, you locked up. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Certain herbs and fungi. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
All over the place. Some people will just hand you stuff.
Yes. So generous, the Deadheads. So giving.
Heck, I didn't even need a beer that evening. There was all sorts of.
No, that's the last thing you need is a beer. Get a parking lot burrito and go on in.
Oh my God.
Get your contact high, if nothing else.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, those are fun times. Yep.
So I was talking earlier, a lot of my influences are kind of, you were talking about some of your early influences growing up. So I had sisters 5 and 6 years older than I was, who were basically listening to whatever pop was going on at that time. But my dad was a big band guy and country. So I listened to a lot of Glenn Miller, but I also listened to a lot of, Jerry Reed, Johnny Cash, and that country at that time. So that's my influence kind of built that way. But I had a brother that was 12 years older than I was. Well, my other friends were listening to like the Bay City Rollers. My brother was in the Navy in the early 70s, and he would send home 8 tracks of Santana and the Who Live at Leeds and Alice Cooper. So I was listening to some weird stuff that nobody else my age was listening. So I would go to school saying, but have you heard this?
That's awesome. I wish I could have been that cool.
I actually got sent to the principal's office for bringing Muscle of Love to school.
Oh my. Why
I didn't know. I was 9 years old. What did I know?
Right.
I just thought it was a great tune. I didn't know what it meant.
Right. I would think.
But 9-year-olds should not be listening to Muscle
No,
of Love.
no. To be fair, but it wasn't your fault. It was your
I think
brother's
a lot
fault.
of it was, I love the enthusiasm of the Alice Cooper band at the time. And the way they performed was amazing.
Yeah, he's pretty great. And he's a really cool guy. Like, he's a really nice person.
Have you ever seen Alice in concert?
No, not in real life. No.
So it's not really like a concert. It's more like this bizarre, macabre magic show set to music.
Sure. That makes sense.
It's very theatrical.
Sure, that's his whole jam, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he kind of invented that, didn't he? I mean, there's a lot of folks out there. So I don't like Alice for this or that, but they like Kiss. Without Alice, there would be no Kiss.
Yeah, that's Alice like times 20 with the crazy.
If Alice didn't do his jam, there would never be a Kiss.
No.
He had to have something.
Yeah. Kiss scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid.
Really?
We went to some church, some little Baptist church in East Prairie, Missouri, or somewhere, Matthews, I don't know where it was. And the preacher's kids came out, and my parents are friends with the pastor and his wife. And the preacher's kids came out in full Kiss makeup, just two of them.
Gosh.
They came out in Gene Simmons, and he had blood tablets.
Oh, wow.
And then who was the star? Was that Eric? No, that was Paul Stanley. Star. Yeah. But I was like 6, and I was it was terrifying. I was like, these are pastors' kids. What the hell? Yeah.
That's funny.
Weird. But then I liked Kiss after that. I mean, eventually. My little nephew, I think he's almost 7. Loves Kiss. So
you weren't a fan then, I'm guessing.
I wasn't when I was that age because that was terrifying to me. But then once I figured out, I definitely did like Kiss. Yeah. They had some hits in the late 80s and early 90s, some really terrible hair metal garbage.
Yeah,
they
had a mass phase where they're doing a lot of hair metal, yeah.
Yeah.
So you like them better with the makeup than their unmasked phase, right?
Yeah. Gene Simmons is a freaking weirdo, but yeah, no, they're fine. The music is.
Well, you had to go back and forth between who's the most narcissistic musician between Gene Simmons and Ted Nugent, right?
Oh, God.
Two of the most awful
either of those two.
That's why there are some Kiss songs I like for specific reasons, but I always hate that I want to listen to them because Gene Simmons is such an ass.
Yes.
And Ted Nugent's the same way. There's some songs I grew up with that I like to listen to, but then I feel, oh my God, I'm not going to give this asshole any money.
Yeah, I feel like Gene Simmons is the lesser of those two evils.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
This Ted Nugent he just needs to be shot into the moon, like into the sun. I don't know, but yeah. But Gene Simmons is still terrible. Yeah.
But there are certain songs, right? For me, anyway, growing up.
No, it's fun.
Like, for instance, "Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine." Ted Nugent. It's a great tune, but now I hate to listen to him because he's such a prick.
I only know like 2 Ted Nugent songs, which is weird because I grew up in Southeast Missouri. I should know all of them, but yeah, he's awful. He's really reprehensible. Yeah. So no, that's a hard pass. And then Stranglehold is right there in my head. I'm like, God damn it, it's right there.
Oh, mercy. Yeah, one of the last concert my son and I went to was Ted Nugent was the opener. It was Ted Nugent, Styx, and REO Speedwagon. That was the last show we went to. But what was redeeming about that show for the Ted Nugent portion anyway is that he actually had Derek St. Holmes there doing most of the vocals. He wasn't doing that Ted Nugent, 3-piece, which they're not capable of doing. Yeah, he had Derek St. Holmes kind of who can actually sing.
Sure. Yeah. I like that.
So of the hair bands, going back to my era, the hair bands, are there any hair bands that you find are redeemable after all these years?
You mean like still playing, or that I would still listen to their stuff?
Still listen to, still say, okay, they might have been a little over the top, but these are great songs, kind of thing.
If we're considering Guns N' Roses a hair band, and I sort of do, they're kind of straddling hair band and actual metal. Guns N' Roses will always have a very large place in my heart. even though Axl Rose is kind of a douche as well. But always have a place in my heart because Slash is amazing. Gosh, any other hair bands? Oh God. You know, I wouldn't kick Every Rose Has Its Thorn out of my head. Poison.
Yeah, Poison. There you go. That was a guilty pleasure. Yeah.
It is, and it still is. As soon as when I get drunk, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, guess what, everybody? We're gonna listen to Mommy's favorite hits from 1984. 89. And I'm like, sorry, it's all Firehouse, it's Winger, it's Slaughter. Oh my God, they're terrible. Everything.
Slaughter. Oh yeah.
Yeah, saw them all.
That's right.
There's some good. You know what? Scorps, not so bad. Scorpions.
Yeah.
Pretty great actually. Guns N' Roses, Love.
You remember Y&T? Is that a band you're familiar with? Y&T?
I do know of them, but I don't know.
So their big hair band hit was Summertime Girls.
Yeah, but I don't know that one.
Mid 80s, no. But a lot of people, they lump them as a hair band, but they were actually a band in the 70s. They kind of, ended up in that hair band kind of phase, but they weren't really a hair band if you knew their earlier stuff.
Sure.
But Great White, for me, that's kind of my hair band guilty pleasure. I think they were a very underrated band.
Absolutely, they were great. White, they were great. No, I did. I'm sorry. That was.
Mercy.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah, that's what I say. If you're going to throw me grapefruits, I'm going to hit them over the fence. Yeah.
They were great. I think I saw them twice. Pretty sure somebody from that band signed my white dress. Yeah, they were very good. Were fun, Oh, Motley Crue. I really liked Motley Crue.
Oh, the Crue. So I saw the Crue. I saw Motley Crue at a club called the Golden Bear on PCH. I don't know, 83 maybe.
Wow. That's
before they had anything going. It was right about the time they just put out the EP, not the major label, but they put out their small label EP.
That's that. What was that? No. Was that no? It was just I'm out of my head about you. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Like that was. I think that was that. That was way early.
It was interesting because up until that point, no heavy or hard rock band had done that really high voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Vince Neil going, oh damn, he was like kind of like Mickey Thomas, but for hard rockers,
right? I'd rather hear hard rock.
Kind of Mickey Thomas-ish, yeah. Mickey Thomas,
yeah.
Light, yeah.
Yeah, more nasal, but yeah.
He didn't have the range, but he had that one particular sound.
Yep, he did.
Oh yeah, very glam.
Yeah, I love that though. Oh, I like it. And big hair. Very good. It's influenced my style of dressing to this day. Lots of fishnet. Lots of ripped denim.
That's right. Oh, mercy. Anyways, I want to thank Kristi for joining me on this particular episode of At the Pub. Any last words? Why did I do this show? Why am I here? This
is great. I'm kind of drunk though. I'm gonna have to go get some food. My husband's gonna say I'm gonna get some food.
My wife was like, "You're an idiot," because I've been into my strengths.
Same Tom.
Anyway,
that's all I got.
Thank you for joining the show. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Thanks for tuning in. Kristi, don't jump off right away.